Hi, Gemini. Welcome to your October 2021 Astro Update. It's Raina here. We begin the month of October with your ruler, Mercury, retrograding. I don't know if Gemini people feel this more deeply or if it doesn't affect you as adversely as it might other signs. I don't know. I've heard mixed results or reports on that. But anyway, it's happening beginning in late September. And so Mercury will be retrograding in your fellow air sign Libra until the 18th of October. And for you, this is the fifth house of romance. So they always say that when Mercury retrogrades that you might hear from somebody from your past, especially well, I don't know if they specify like old love relationships, but it seems like they do. But when it's in Libra, I would really think that could be the case. But when it's in your fifth house, I really, really think that's the case. So that might be going on for you. Now, if you are a writer, and Geminis tend to be natural writers, you may be like reworking something in a script, in a novel. The fifth house is creative endeavors. So Mercury retrograde is a great time to edit, to revise, that kind of thing. Or you might be rethinking a plot. So, well, that's a form of revision, I guess you could say. And the sun is also in this sector. So this might be a very creative period for you in general. On the 6th, Pluto turns direct. So Pluto has been retrograde. This is a month of 4 planets turning direct. And 3 out of the 4 have been retrograding for months. Mercury is the only one that it's so fast moving that it didn't stay retrograde too long. So Pluto goes direct on the 6th at 24 degrees of Capricorn. And for you, this is the 8th house. Whoa, talk about a heavy house. Well, this is Pluto's own house. So it's in its element, but it still is not necessarily warm and fuzzy. I wonder what the Pluto retrograde was like. I don't remember exactly what month Pluto went retrograde, so I can't tell you those, parameters, because then maybe it could narrow it down and like, oh yeah, I had quite a doozy of a time. But it's been several months. I think about like at least 4 or 5 months. And when Pluto goes direct, you might see more of the outward manifestation of that. So maybe more of the material, although this is the 8th house, so I don't know if anything will be the material. One thing that the 8th house represents is other people's money. So yeah, power struggles with money can happen when Pluto is in the 8th house. And that would just be when it's going direct. If it's at a lower level, actually, a high vibe transit of Pluto in the 8th house can be amazing for you transforming your life in a big way from the inside out. So really getting in touch with your shadow side would be one of the biggies with Pluto. Maybe when, Pluto is retrograding, that's when the shadow work comes out. So only you can say. So this could feel like a relief, because you might feel like it's not so much about digging and reflecting, but more about stepping into your power in some way. And this would be more like psychological power, maybe magical, metaphysical power. On the same day, we have the new moon in that 5th house of romance. So in Libra, 13 degrees of Libra. So that may seem like something new is occurring on that front, whether it's a new love, new creative project, new business that you're trying to launch. But remember that Mercury is retrograding at this time, so things can still feel up in the air, and it is in the same house as this. On the 7th, Venus goes into Sagittarius, your opposite sign, opposite house. So we're talking about that 7th house of committed partnership. And that could be really wonderful for people who want to get married, who want to, enjoy their partner. Venus is about pleasure, and there's harmony. So any Gemini people who are coupled, this can actually enhance your relationship at this time. And this can be good for like a legal matter, that it's in your favor, you're receiving money for some legal affair, possibly. On the 10th, Saturn goes direct at 6 degrees of Aquarius. And on the 18th, Jupiter goes direct at 22 degrees of Aquarius. So Aquarius is the air sign that is behind you, so it forms a trine, and this is coming from the 9th house. The 9th house is ruled by your opposite sign, Sagittarius. And its ruler is Jupiter, and it's all about expansion of territory in the form of long-distance travel, expansion of the mind in the form of higher education, so university, or just philosophical inquiry. This is the God house. Saturn going direct here can be something even career-related that has to do with religion, like yoga training. We could put a lot of things in that category nowadays. I tend to think of the 9th house as more of organized religion. So even some people may want to study it in a university. But any kind of profession that you're studying, that you're serious college studies could be in play here, because Saturn is looking for the long haul. And so Saturn is always thinking about your future self and stabilizing, laying down foundations. And you might get serious about getting a degree. And this does not mean that you're 22 years old or 20 years old. Maybe you're 30 or 40 years old, and that's something you've always wanted. Jupiter goes direct, as I stated, on the 18th, and at 22 degrees of Aquarius, and this gives you these opportunities in this area. Oh yeah, one thing that this could involve with both of these planets is being a digital nomad. So for, Gemini is a sign that does like to roam anyway. And I could totally see the average Gemini person taking a trip or living abroad and doing so for their work, if their work is like an intellectual type of profession, or maybe even in sales. These are two things, like academia and sales are two examples of what Gemini would excel in. And so, because Saturn is connected to career, doing that as you travel. So the traveling professor, the traveling nurse, the traveling, what was the other thing I said? I can't think of it, but any kind of profession, actually. On the same day that Jupiter turns direct on the 18th, Mercury turns direct, your ruler. So Yeah, because this is going to be in your 8th house. Yeah, that could be like you rethinking something. Um, I'm sorry, your 9th house. This could even be like if you filled out an application for college and it didn't go through properly, and the classes started in September and you're still trying to work it out. Maybe you're trying to come in late, or if this had some kind of financial connection to it, it could be like that it's resolved. On the 20th, there's a full moon at 27 degrees of Aries. So this is going to be in your 11th house of hopes and wishes and gains. This is your friendships and groups. You may be benefiting from career financially at this time. This can be ending friendship or friendships. And sometimes this happens because it's not like a permanent ending, but let's say you're moving abroad and you have to say goodbye to some people. Maybe you will see them in the future, but you're not going to have that same very intimate bond because you're not going to be next door to them or down the street from them or in that same group of people. Maybe you're moving moving to another country even. And so seeing this social circle is going to be more difficult in the future. And so it can be, sometimes it can simply be that you have outgrown that connection. And because the full moon can bring things to that, the highest point that it can go sometimes. On the 23rd, the sun goes into Scorpio, and this is your 6th house of work. It's a very practical house. It's a house of your health, also how you order your time. So it's your routines, your schedule, time management, and this can really put the emphasis on that. Now, you may have certain goals in mind that are making it so that you have to really think about what it is that you're doing in terms of your job, because in terms of like your daily routine, because maybe you want to go into college or back into college and you feel like it's interesting. Did I say that okay, Mercury is going direct. Okay, I'm sorry. I think I said something wrong. I don't know if I said Mercury is going direct in the 5th house, because that's where it's going. The reason that I'm bringing up the 9th house is because that is where Jupiter and Saturn are going direct. And this can have an impact on your career. The Sun and Mars going into 6th house, the 6th house is the service that you're providing to others. And you may be paying more attention to that at the moment. But the thing is that Mars is here as well, and Mars can sometimes be conflict. So the 6th house can be your coworkers, and there may be some clashes with them, but that would have to be if other factors support that, like you're already in a hostile environment. So I'm not saying that this would be everybody, just if this is something, and this might be like growing resentment that you have, a feeling of maybe you don't feel as in control of your work as you used to. And so it's causing you to feel like you have to push back in some way, and then it creates conflict. Or somebody is just trying to best you, if you will. And you feel like it's, maybe it feels like it's getting more competitive. In other words, Mars can be about competition and aggression. So look at that area of life and see if it doesn't feel right to you, because maybe at one time it was hunky-dory, and then somewhere down the line it's kind of fallen by the wayside. And we have to be able to identify when these things happen. We can't just live in the past, obviously. But it can also simply be that maybe you're working your butt off. Maybe you're working overtime. Mars gives you a lot of physical stamina to be able to do that. So that's what I have for you, Gemini. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a personal reading, I'm promoting my double readings, natal charts, an hour of that, plus an hour of transits for a special price, an hour of natal interpretation, plus a full-length tarot reading. That's a whole enchilada. So please visit RenaMoonAstrology.com for more details. The link is below. Take care. Bye.